Hey everybody, I'm John Swantek. Welcome to Direct Connect presented by United, where you guys, the fans, get to ask the questions and connect directly with PGA Tour players through our social media platforms. Pleasure to be joined this week by the man who won last week on the PGA Tour, the champion at the RBC Canadian Open. Scott Piercy joins us from the Media Center at Firestone Country Club, site of this week's World Golf Championships Bridgestone Invitational in Akron, Ohio. Thanks for the time, Scott. Good to be a PGA Tour champion for the second time, I bet.
Oh, for sure. I'm so excited. I'm exhausted, to be honest with you, but looking forward to this week.
All right, let's jump right in. A lot of questions from Scott's fans this week. First one comes through Twitter from @JRuck7. What do you think was the most important shot in the tournament for you last week?
Wow, I mean, there's so many. I think, honestly, the bogey putt that I made on 14, I think was a huge momentum for me. I drove it in the rough on the tee shot, and I left it short of the green, and I chipped it to like 40 feet. Then I lagged it up to about 6, 7, 8 feet for bogey, and making that was a big relief, and I think it propelled me, to finish strong.
Course record 62, by the way, in the opening round for Scott Piercy last week at Hamilton Golf and Country Club, on the way to moving to 13th in the FedEx Cup standings as he looks to make his first ever Tour championship. Went 3 playoff events deep last year. Next question through the Tour Report from Biggin. Scott, who was your favorite golfer when you were growing up?
There were 2, actually, Freddie Couples and Greg Norman, and that's probably a pretty standard answer, but if I had to pick between one of them, it would be hard, but those are the 2 that I really looked up to.
Fred Couples, winner of the Senior British Open just a week ago. Scott Piercy, our guest, grew up in Las Vegas, born and raised there, raising his own family there, in fact. Next question comes through Facebook from Janet Olisi. Who was the most influential person in your childhood and why?
I'd have to say it's my parents. They've taught me how to work hard, brought me up a good way, be a good person first, and to be, good at everything else second. So if it wasn't for my parents, I probably wouldn't be here.
Your mom and dad are still pretty active in sort of managing your career a little bit, Scott, especially when it comes to your travel schedule, right?
My mom does a lot of my booking as far as flights and hotels, and my dad still does all my taxes. He's an accountant. He does a lot of financial stuff and accounting for me, so it's nice to have that in-house.
All right, let's keep the home theme going here with our guest, Scott Piercy. This one through the Tour Report from Lee Breidenbeck. He says, if you can't have fun in Las Vegas, you're just not trying. That's true. But what about raising a family there, Scott?
Vegas is a great town. It's I equate it to living by the beach, kind of. If you want to go to the beach, you can. If you don't want to go to the beach, you don't have to. And Vegas is very much the same way. And, there's so many things that we get spoiled with in Vegas. Great food, great restaurants, great shopping. It stays open 24 hours a day. There's just so much about Vegas. It's so great. And you definitely miss it when you go to other towns that don't have what Vegas has.
So your young boys, Colt and Brennan and Jet, can get into some good, clean trouble back at home there?
I'm sure they could get into any kind of trouble if they wanted. So,
all right, let's keep it moving here with Scott Piercy, our guest this week. Here's another one that comes through Facebook from Mike Austin. It says, I understand you're kind of an equipment junkie. How often do you tweak your own clubs?
I check them probably every time I'm home. So if I usually play about 3 weeks in a row, and then I'm off a week or 2. When I get home, I check the loss and lies to make sure everything hasn't moved. If you hit it off a cart path on one hole, or stick one in the dirt, or what have you. I have a lot of lead tape on my clubs as well. Sometimes the lead tape will come off, in between weeks or whatnot. So I check just to make sure everything's maintained. I check my putter out on tour every week to make sure the loft and the lie is right. Just because your equipment is something that you can control in golf, and so I think that you should have a good handle on where it is and what it is.
2 victories on the PGA Tour for Scott Piercy. His breakthrough came in Reno last year, the Reno Tahoe Open also being contested this week. Another question through Twitter for Scott from Dave Coates. Scott, who's the best young player not yet to have won on the PGA Tour? What do you think?
Wow, you stumped me on that one. There's so many good players, like Bud Cauley is going to be right there. He's been playing well. Harris English, I think, is a really good player. That's a rookie that is first year out on tour. I think he's got the game to win. It's just a matter of getting comfortable out on tour. Brian Harmon's a good little player. He's a rookie this year that has a lot of game, and you know, I think it's a matter of time for him just to get comfortable as well. So there's 3, and you know, if I had a little bit more time to think about it, I'd probably give you a few more.
Well, Scott Piercy, part of an elite field this week at historic Firestone Country Club in Akron as he competes in his first ever World Golf Championships event. Scott, good luck to you out there this week in Ohio, and thanks for connecting with us.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, guys.